Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and we have a very special video for today. We are doing the top 10 movies of 2022. Now, this is my list, not yours, so there's going to be some things on here that you might hate. You might call me a madman, and there are some things that might have made this list, but I just didn't get to see them. That's one of the downsides of living in like nowhere USA, is like the Fablemans. Haven't got to see it. Puss in Boots, haven't had time to see it. Bones and All, nowhere near me. X and Pearl, haven't seen them. Have them, haven't had the time to see them, but I wanted to get this list out before the end of the year. So this list is what we are working with. Usually I would toss out some honorable mentions, but you know what? I feel like that's almost cheating. If you're going to do honorable mentions, you might as well do a top 12 or whatever, top 15. I would pick 10 movies, and we're going to go from 10 to 1, and you might lose your mind at some of these picks, but it's my list, so here we go. We're going to start things off with number 10, Elvis. The new Baz Luhrmann film starring Austin Butler came out this June, and I loved it. I have kind of a special connection to Elvis because my dad's like a huge Elvis fan. He's got a whole room in his house dedicated to Elvis. There's all sorts of Elvis shit from when Elvis was actually active till today. Just he gets everything, he collects everything. So I know a lot about Elvis. So going into this, me and him went to see it together, so it was kind of a special thing there. And I love the movie. I liked Austin Butler and other stuff before, but this kind of like opened my eyes to how good he is, and now I can't wait to see him in like Dune. I can't wait to see if he plays Johnny Storm in Fantastic Four. I thought his performance was great. I would be surprised if he didn't get nominated for Best Actor award at the Oscars. I personally think he should. I don't know if he'll win, but I personally think he should definitely be nominated. So Elvis gets the 10th spot on my list. Coming in at number 9, this might be a big surprise for many people. Hustle over on Netflix, starring Adam Sandler. A lot of people didn't catch this one. Netflix didn't really do a great job of promoting it, but it is out there. It came out also in June, and it delivers one of Adam Sandler's best performances in his entire career. I don't really care about basketball. Like, I don't know much about the NBA. I played basketball in like high school and stuff, but I don't know much about like the NBA and stuff. But watching this movie, I was just like enamored with the world. I was like, Sandler's performance is great. Everyone else in the film is great. The directing style was fantastic. And like, it's just, and it's not completely like totally serious. Like, it's a serious film, but Adam Sandler does get a couple of jokes in there, unlike like an Uncut Gems where it's like totally dark, serious. And now like Sandler's next movie, I think it's like Murder Mystery 2, which is going to go back to his more comedic stuff. But then he's going to do another film with the Safdie brothers, and I like this kind of stage where we're in with Sandler right now, where it's like one like serious movie, one comedy. Because I like some of his newer comedies, but a lot of them, especially the Netflix era ones, don't work. But Hustle definitely works. If you haven't seen it, go check it out because it gets the 9th spot on my list. Jumping on over to Hulu for my 8th favorite film of the year, Prey, the new Predator film, Prey. Going into this movie, I didn't know what to expect. Like, at first, I forgot it was coming out, and then I was like, okay, the trailer looks cool, but why didn't they release it theatrically? And then I watched it, and my melon burst off on my shoulders because this film was awesome. It was almost like The Force Awakens is to New Hope. Like, it treaded on familiar ground that we saw in the first Predator film, but it obviously takes place in a very different time period. The main character is great. Like, I can't wait to see what she does in the future. What's her name? Amber Midhunter. Like, I think she's great. The Predator looked dope as hell. Like, the Predator more or less has always kind of looked the same. This Predator looks unique, and Dan Trachtenberg just crushed the directing in this film. It's scary. It's got great action. Like, Prey is a great freaking movie that you should definitely check out on Hulu, and it makes me excited that maybe we will see more, time period Predator films. Like, the big one that people want to see is like feudal Japan. I'm down. Let's do it. Get Dan Trachtenberg on the phone because Prey gets my 8th spot. Coming in at number 7, we're going to hop back over to Netflix and talk about Rian Johnson's Glass Onion. I was very excited for this film, one of my most anticipated films of the year because I love Knives Out. I thought it was great, one of my favorite movies the year it came out. So I was very excited for this one, but I didn't know if it would work the same. I didn't know, like, a lot of these films kind of like what's that one, the Death on the Nile, it kind of treaded the same water as the first one. So I was like, are we just going to get the same kind of thing just with a different ensemble? Not really. Like, the murder mystery plays out completely different in this one. There's great humor. We get more, like, Benoit Blanc was cool in Knives Out, but he was more or less just the detective, like a cold detective. This one, we learn more about his personal life. And Janelle Monáe, she's great in this. Edward Norton essentially plays Elon Musk, and there's some funny stuff in there, and there's some good jibing at Jared Leto, which I always appreciate. And Dave Bautista once again proves why he's the best actor that used to be a wrestler, because he's great in this movie as well. Go check out Glass Onion over on Netflix if you haven't yet. Now we're going to dive into some theatricals, because my sixth favorite film of the year, Avatar: The Way of Water. I've seen it twice now. Might see it a third time before it leaves theaters, and I like it so much. It's such a good freaking movie. Like, I see a lot of people being like, "Yeah, it's not original. It's just like Free Willy mixed with the first Avatar and mixed with Fern Gully." Shut your sloppy ass. Like, most movies nowadays are, basically retellings of other movies. I said this in my Avatar review. The Northman is one of the most critically acclaimed movies of this year, which killed me that I didn't put it on my list, because I love that movie. It just didn't crack the top 10 for me. It's literally Hamlet just with Vikings. But you don't see people complaining about that because it's not the number one grossing film of all time, like the Avatar franchises. I love Way of Water. I thought the story was good as like a father. The story connected with me as like a creative person. The visual aspect connected with me, and I really like it. Can't wait to see Avatar 3. So Avatar: The Way of Water gets the number 6 spot. Coming in at number 5 is what's going to be a lot of people's number 1, Top Gun Maverick. The more I think about this movie, the more I like it. Every time I watch it here at home on 4K, it's just such a, I don't want to say like easy watch, but it's just like such a good movie just to put on and feel good. You know, this and Avatar, you don't really get movies like this anymore. Like, these feel like magical event movies. I love Marvel, but those movies don't really feel like that. Like, these films feel like something you absolutely need to see in theaters, and I'm sure you did see Top Gun in theaters, because it was in theaters for like most of the year. So Top Gun Maverick, starring good old Tommy Cruise, Scientology man himself, gets my number 5 spot. Coming in at number 4 was my number 1 most anticipated film of the year, and it did not disappoint. Scream, the new Scream movie from the guys over at Radio Silence. Going into it, I was like, I think this looks really good, and I love the Radio Silence guys. Like, Ready or Not's a fantastic film. So I was excited, but I was like, what are they gonna do exactly? Like, we already had kind of like the reboot with Scream 4, and this one does cover some of the same ground that Scream 4 covered, just did it way better and kind of ushered in a new generation of the franchise, which we're going to see pay off farther here in March with the next Scream movie. But this film was scary, had some unexpected deaths, had some heartbreaking deaths. You know the one I'm talking about. And personally, I didn't guess one of the killers. One of them, I figured it was that person, but I thought it would be something else with that character. But the other one, I did not guess, so it kept me on my toes, delivered some great kills, and it was another good addition in the Scream franchise, so it gets the 4th spot. Now, coming in at number 3, surprisingly, is the only comic book film on my list. Usually there's more, but this year was a little lackluster in that kind of field. The Batman. I love this film. It's like David Fincher's Batman. It's like Seven with Batman lurking around in the shadows. I thought it was great. I thought Robert Pattinson was fantastic as the Batman. Paul Dano crushed it as the Riddler. Everyone else, James Gordon, great in this. All the supporting cast, Andy Serkis as Alfred, fantastic. Didn't really want him as Alfred. I love Andy Serkis, but when they announced that, I was like, but I love his performance in this movie. Barry Keoghan as Joker, his small scene, very interested to where that goes. And just, I love this. The only gripe I really had was I didn't think Pattinson was the best Bruce Wayne, but I think that character is going to develop and he'll be more like the actual Bruce Wayne in the sequel and possibly third film. So I love the Batman. I've seen it several times. It's probably like the film from this year that I've seen the most. I think I've watched it like 4 times, and I love it every single time. The Batman gets my 3rd spot. Coming in at number 2, The Black Phone. This film kind of flew under my radar. Like, I love Scott Derrickson, love the writer, Robert Cargill, but I don't know, it just kind of like missed my purview until about April, I think, when it started like getting screenings and stuff. I started hearing this buzz, and I was like, oh man, this might be really good. The trailers, I was like, they look pretty solid, but not like crazy good. And then I watched the movie, and it blew my goddamn socks off. I was like, oh my god, I couldn't imagine a horror movie this year coming out that I like more than Scream, because I'm a diehard Scream fan. But holy crap, this movie's amazing. I've also seen this one 3 or 4 times, and it's fantastic, scary, creepy, unnerving, terrifying performance by Ethan Hawke, and a good kid performance from the main kid, because let's face it, kid actors sometimes don't really work, but this kid did and had some creepy good chemistry with Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke's weird fat jack body, where his arms were like big as fucking cement blocks, but then he had a big beer gut. It was a great film and one of my favorites of the year. Clearly coming in at number 2. Now is the moment you've all been waiting for. What is my number 1 film of the year? Clerks 3. I love this film, and it also has some personal connection because I don't want to spoil what the film's about if you haven't seen it, but there's some deaths, there's some sudden deaths that you wouldn't expect in like a Kevin Smith comedy. And this isn't, it's funny as hell, but it's almost more like a drama at times than a comedy. So there's some sudden deaths, and I saw this film the day after my uncle suddenly passed away. So it just hit home, like watching it in the theater. I was like, oh man, a couple man tears. A couple man tears fell right down the side of my face watching this one. I think this is honestly, this is gonna maybe be heresy, but I think this is Kevin Smith's best movie he's ever made, above Clerks, above Mallrats. What are some of the other ones that people consider his best? Above Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I think this is Kevin Smith's best work that he's ever done, and I can't wait to see how he continues the View Askew universe with Jay and Silent Bob 3, Mallrats 2. I can't wait to see what he does next. Kevin Smith's already like my favorite like person in the world today that I don't know, like celebrity wise, but this just kind of solidified that, man. Like, god damn it, I need to meet Kevin Smith. If you send him this video, make sure I'm kissing his ass enough, because I love Clerks 3. So funny, so emotional, great cameos throughout, just perfect movie for a guy like me. So Clerks 3, my favorite film of 2022. So what did you guys think of my list? What are some movies that I missed? There are some ones that I loved this year, but just didn't make the list, like Everything Everywhere All at Once. Love it, seen it a couple times now. Just didn't make the list for me. And DC's League of Super Pets is another one that feels very underrated. Almost made the list. Almost took Elvis's spot, but I decided to put Elvis on there instead. So drop your top 10 favorite films of the year down in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so we keep growing towards 250 subscribers in the new year. And make sure you guys come back right here tomorrow for the top 10 TV shows of 2022, and then next week we'll do most anticipated movies and TV shows of 2023. That's right, next week we'll be in 2023. Make sure you subscribe so we can keep growing in the new year. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys right here next time.